Good evening. We'll call our meeting to order and we'll start, Jim, with the treasurer's report.
Okay, we're at 824.85. We've had a number of outgoing donations, so we're down a little bit.
Good. Good on the donations. Not good that we're down, but that's what it's there for. As many know, we publish our minutes and they're up on our website. So if anyone has any questions or corrections or comments, just please let us know at any time and we'll respond to that. Just wondering how DX is during kind of our informal discussion before the meeting. We had, some talk about how wonderful 6 meters is, Bob. And I'm wondering if you have just a little short report for us on what you've seen and what might be coming up.
Well, there's just all kinds of stuff going on. There's been a lot of activity, and I had to go through my notes this afternoon and just cut them way back because it would have taken up the whole half hour without some editing here. But October was a busy month. The sunspot number was up compared to the previous month. Still not tremendously high, but high enough to give us some pretty good HF activity. One of the expeditions that we funded, C-21MM, that's Nauru. That's out in the far western Pacific on the equator, just west of Banaba. They did pretty well. They did 94,000 QSOs. I think something like 25% of them were with North America. And I know a lot of guys in the Madison DX Club worked them. There was a leaderboard, and as usual, our ace DXer here, W9DEY, he kind of led the pack there again. He worked them 10 through 60 meters. They were having a lot of trouble on 80 and 160. They had noise problems there. And there weren't all that many contacts with them on the lower, on 80 and 160. And then, of course, we had the phone portion of the CQ Worldwide DX contest. That was at the end of the month, October 26th and 27th. And I wasn't in the contest, but I kept tuning into it just to pick up some band slots. But every time I got on 10 meters, it was just jammed with DX signals. So I think it was a pretty hot contest. And as Scott was saying, they had a lot of fun. So that's good to know. There's also something really interesting happening. Looks like a picture of which is behind Ted there, K9IMM. We had this incredible aurora on in October. Let's see, that was the night of 10/11, October 10/11. And well, I didn't have to go very far to see the aurora. I just stepped out my front door and looked up, and the sky overhead was a diffuse red. So, when you have an aurora like that, you got a humdinger. So I got on 2 meters. I'm sure 6 meters must have been crazy working aurora. I got on 2 meters. I made 40 contacts out on the West Coast via aurora. And then just for the heck of it, I thought I'd get on 432. And sure enough, there I was working East Coast on 432 aurora. Best contact was Maine, 1,000 miles. So that was pretty exciting to me. Anyway, that was October, and Into November, now we had kind of a tough area to work into. Cocos Keeling Island. They're down in the far eastern Indian Ocean, just southwest of Sumatra. And, I've never had a whole lot of luck working Cocos Keeling and Christmas Island. Propagation's usually pretty tough out there, but boy, I tell you, I've never heard signals from that part of the world as strong as they were with this expedition. And they just ended up, I think, today with 92,000 QSOs. And boy, I picked up a lot of good band spots there. So that was another indication of really good conditions. Right now we have S9Z who just came on. I think they worked 13,000 QSOs in their first day on. They're in Sao Tome and Principe. And just one note about them, they they're serious about 6 meters. They've got a 6-element Yagi, and they're running 500 watts. So that's somebody to keep an eye on, I think. There's a whole lot of other de-expeditions planned now for November and early December. And we don't have time to go through them all, but I would just point out to you, recommend highly this website, NG3K, ng3k.com. Bill does a really great job. He has all kinds of links to de-expeditions on his website. And if you click on announce DX operations there, it'll take you to a great spreadsheet that shows you all the de-expeditions, not only the current ones, but the ones into the future. And he'll give you links to their websites. It'll tell you what bands are operating, what modes, what their dates are. So I think there's a lot of places you can get this information, but this is a place where you can get it all in one spot in a very organized fashion. So I recognize that. Another thing to note is 4U1UN, 4U1UN. Tough to work them on 80 and 160 because they haven't been on there for eons. But they put up an antenna and they've been on 80 meters now for the last few nights. And of course, I worked them easily. I haven't heard them on 160, but boy, that'll be an easy new country on 160. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Then, of course, we have the CQ Worldwide DX contest, the CW portion. That's coming up November 23rd and 24th. And finally, Meteor Scatter. Geminids are peaking the 12th and 13th of December. So if you're interested in Meteor Scatter, that's one of the best ones of the year. But you were asking, Kevin, about F2 on 6 meters, and that's where the exciting news is. Because starting mid-October, we started getting some F2 propagation. And well, we have somebody here. I see W7GJ, Lance has checked in. And Lance promises to give us a presentation in the coming months on his expedition to ZD9GJ, which had a whole lot of people here excited because, well, Lance did, he went down there to do his usual EME thing, and he did a bang up job. He made 173 contacts there on EME. But what he did on terrestrial was totally amazing. I think it was 1,270 QSOs. And a lot of those QSOs were in 9-land. And there was just some fantastic opening one day where he was even running FT4 and just working stations like crazy. So yeah, there's been a lot of excitement on 6 meters. The band's been opening up to Europe. frequently in the morning. The strength of the openings vary considerably, but some of the openings have lasted for hours, some for up to 3 hours. And yesterday we had a great opening where I know Gary's shaking his head because I saw him work a bunch of stuff, and Ted did too, and our vice president, Dave, W9DEY, picked up a lot of new countries, as did I. So that was really a great opening. But of course, very much like 6 meters, today the band was dead. So we didn't hear a peep out of Europe this morning. But yeah, keep an eye on this. This is really pretty exciting. And I think somebody else mentioned, oh yeah, Ed mentioned working into the Indian Ocean. So there's been quite a few contacts into Mauritius and to Reunion Island. And Ed was fortunate enough to work one of those. So that's what's going on at 6 meters. And let's hope this F2 continues. I think if we can keep the solar flux up, we'll be in good shape. I know in October we had 20 days out of 31 that were over 200. The solar flux was, and a couple of days it was over 300. So we'll see what happens, and I'm sure our speaker tonight can address that for us. So that's what I got on DXing right now.
Oh, great. Thanks, Bob. Any other comments by anyone on what their experience has been, or things that have been of interest in the last month? Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I have some stuff. As you mentioned, 6. I've picked up some Eastern European stations for new countries on 6. We had that opening into the Indian Ocean. I picked up a couple of FR4s, some 3B8s were there, but unfortunately they faded out before I could work them. More recently, I worked VK9DX, and then yesterday I worked ET3AA on 6 meters. So pretty excited about all that. And I also did the 10 meter or the CQ Worldwide contest. I went 10 meters single band, low power. The conditions were, but there's some really good times and some times where it was not so hot. Sunday was not so hot, but I made 1,046 contacts in 126 countries running 100 watts. So it was a lot of fun.
Hey Gary, what about Asia? Have you made any contacts into Asia? There's been some openings in the evenings.
I may have worked some JAs. I haven't really been. I've been trying mostly for new countries, if nothing, no new zones, and so I haven't worked a whole lot. Like the European opening, there was only 2 before the Ethiopia opened up. I only heard was I trying for Oscar and HB0, but I wasn't able to work them. But I decoded. I marked down 20 different countries in Europe that I decoded yesterday, and I probably missed a few of the common ones I didn't think to mark down. So, I mean, it started out in Scotland, just worked its way. There was one period of time where it just seemed to be Italy, and I was calling CQ, and I was running Italian stations and picked up 3 or 4 new grids from Italy. So it was a lot of fun yesterday, that's for sure.
It sure was. And, for a while there, my screen was full of red. They were all Italian stations calling me, Of course, I didn't want to work Italy. So I did my best to ignore them and try to pick up, as you said, 403A in Montenegro. I was fortunate to get that. But speaking of Asia, I have been getting some decodes in the evening from KG6DX in Guam. And, usually they're one and done. But a couple nights ago, he showed up on CW on 6 meters at 50.110.6. And Ralph Bellis K9 Zeto and I were chasing him. We weren't lucky enough to work him. He was working mostly the zeros, but it was pretty exciting to hear Guam on CW, and a real pleasure to hear some CW DX on 6 meters for a change, and taking your eyes off the screen for FT8. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the month here and into December, and let's see what kind of great stuff we can work.
Good. Any other comments? Any last minute projects that people are working on antennas and so forth before the snow flies?
I got a new project. I just found out this afternoon my K9AY pipe broke. It looks like a deer got in there and pulled it down, and so I got to fix that before the 160 meters. If you're on Facebook, I posted a couple of pictures, and fortunately, looks like I only have to replace the bottom section. I use PVC pipe for the support for the K9AY array, so need to get that done for the 160. Got enough other projects. I really wasn't needing another one like that.
And Ed, when you get down to Arizona, you're going up on the roof, is what you were saying earlier?
Get to the right spot. Yeah, last year, right before I left, I actually wrote an article that's posted on the Green Valley website, but I put together a 6 meter vertical and put it up there, and I went 2 or 3 days and heard absolutely nothing. I said to myself, well, this electrically looks good. What the hell's the problem here? And about the third day, I turned it on, and gee, there's signals all over the place. And my first 3 contacts were 2 Argentina and a Chile. So I guess it works, and I'll put it back up.
Any other comments or projects that people want to mention?
Sure. Hey, this is Ray Ehrlich, KF0LKJ, located in Corcoran, Minnesota, on the outskirts of Minneapolis here. Maybe 3 weeks ago, I put up a 6 meter ground plane, a Hustler G3754. Prior to that, or still, I have a folded dipole antenna, Yaesu YA30 or something, folded dipole. Supposed to do 160 through 10. On the rig, I can get the SWR tuned on the rig, reasonable on that. But what was interesting though is 6 meters was open, so I was listening, and I put it both antennas through an AB switch, and on the dipole, I was getting maybe say S4 on most of the stuff, and when I would switch over to this 6 meter ground plane, it would drop one S unit. So I even switched up which A and B was which. It didn't make any difference, even going direct. So it's kind of interesting. This folded dipole, which really wasn't meant for 6, is receiving better than this ground plane, which was specifically meant for 6. But I'm fairly new to ham radio, only doing about 1.5 years, so I got lots to learn.
Good.
Well, as I recall, in our last presentation from Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, we had a discussion about angle of radiation, how important low angle of radiation was on 6 meters for making long haul contacts, and we specifically did talk about the possibility of using ground planes in that regard. So yeah, I mean, there's something to it.
Takeoff angle is really, really important. I gave a talk at Central States VHF conference this summer on the takeoff angles and the effects of local terrain on 6-meter antennas. If anybody wants the slides to that, send me an email and I'll send them to you. W9XT@qth.com works.
Great, thanks, Gary, for that offer. All right, just as a reminder, we publish on our YouTube channel our programs, and we have quite a few, and different topics from propagation to the other side of DX from various stations around the world, as well as EME and just all kinds of things. So it's always a good place to go back and look and check those out. And one of the benefits of YouTube is if you think the presenter is talking too slow, you can speed it up and still understand it and jump around. So it's a good resource, and the club's happy to be able to offer that to anyone that can find our YouTube channel. And you can find our YouTube channel by going to our website, Madison DX Club, and where we have information about upcoming programs, membership, and how to join the club, as well as our minutes and other matters. So for new business, the only thing I'd mention is December, we usually have our holiday meeting. So everyone's invited. We don't really have any business. We do not have a formal program. It's a chance to kind of catch up with what's going on in everyone's not only amateur radio life, but personal life. And we'll have that, like I said, in December. The question I have for those listening tonight is the timing for that. Should we do it when we usually start our programs at 6 o'clock Central? Or excuse me, start our Zoom meetings at 6 o'clock Central? Or should we have it at 7 o'clock Central when we have our program? So I don't know if there's any thoughts on that. We have people across many time zones, so.
Yeah, East Coast 6 o'clock is better for me because it's 7 o'clock here, but it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. Well, Scott, I guess since you're the only vote, and and this is a democracy, I guess you win. So we'll set it for that, and I'll get information out as I always do ahead of time for that meeting. So make certain you have your cheese and sausage and crackers and your favorite refreshment handy for next meeting. So that's the preparation for that.